Hey guys, what's up? Different kind of video here. As you guys can see, I have not shown much of myself lately over the past months. And some days ago, I got this comment here in which the guy was saying like, is this really you? Because I made this video in which I showed a little bit of myself. I showed like one of pictures from one of my social media. And this guy was like, is that really you? Did you stole that? And that was funny because I have not gotten comments like this. I think that ever since I made my face reveal video when I got 15k subscribers, when I started streaming with the webcam on or making videos with the webcam on, like I have not gotten comments like this. And I thought it was funny and interesting what he was saying, that he could not believe that I look the way I did because I play a lot of video games. And I'm like, you can still have both things. You can still go out and exercise and play video games. You know, one thing, I like playing video games ever since I was a kid. So it's just because now I'm an adult and I like to work out, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop doing that. It's just something that I do for a hobby, and I like to record, I like to upload on YouTube. Having a YouTube channel about gaming was just something that I wanted ever since I was a kid. It's just a fun hobby for me. And it was just funny that he was saying like, oh, people that usually do that, they don't really play video games, or like there's no time. Because I used to get a lot of comments back then, like, how can you look like that and still have time to play video games? Like, you don't need that much time to work out. Like, to be honest, like, people have this bad notion. I think it's mainly because of social media and YouTubers about fitness. They have this notion that you need to be working out for several hours per day, multiple times per day, that you need some very complex, crazy training routine in order for you to change your body. And it's actually not the case at all. Actually doing more basic, simple stuff actually helped me more, because I done all of this shit, like all the crazy shit that you see on YouTube about crazy trainings, dieting, whatever. Like, I've been watching this ever since I was a teenager, and I was able to see how in practice most of this stuff that you see that people try to sell to you in the internet is just bullshit. People try to sell what people want to hear, and most people want miracles. They want like something they want very fast results. They want something magical, something special. And I get that, because when I was a teenager, I started doing like pull-ups at home. I wanted to get crazy results too. So I would just go on YouTube or go like to the first fitness YouTubers, and they would just say a lot of nonsense to me, or like they're trying to sell fitness training programs, dieting plans, in which most of them are just garbage, and really is not really what you need. Is not really. It's just people trying to sell bullshit to you, and they tend to be overpriced as well. But actually, you don't need to work out that long in order for you to look like jacket. You can still have a lot of time for work, for gaming. Like you can play games for like 3-4 hours and still look good, as long as you're just knowing what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, you don't really need to work out for that long. Sure, if you want to have like the maximum amount of games possible, the maximum amount of performance, if you want to compete, if you want to be an athlete or whatever, that's different. That's like different. Sure, you have to maximize it. But if you just like looking for, like, oh, I don't want to gain like the max amount of muscle mass that I want to gain, or like have the best performance in like cardio, I don't know, running, whatever. But if you just want to like look like above average, that is very easy. Actually, that's very simple. Just that most people don't know how. And the answer is just focus on the basics that used to work like over 100 years ago, and they still work now. Like, in regards to like how, if you want to like increase muscle mass, I can make more detailed videos about my training routine and what I learned over the years. I did a few months ago, a little bit talking about my training, but I can do more of that if you guys want. But it's just that, just focus on the basics, within which I mean the basic exercise. Which are the basic exercises? Bench press, squats, rows, pull-ups, chin-ups, maybe deadlifts, and that's pretty much it. You can do like, I think that there are many training programs that are like available online that are for free, and they're actually, and like I said, they are the ones like for over 100 years ago. You can take like Steve Reeves, Reg Park, starting strength. Like, there are those like training routines that have been working for decades, and they work well for beginners. They're just full body, focus on the heavy compounds 3 times per week, and they work well. Really, that's all you need. You don't need like to pay some, like the best training programs that are like the actual best ones that have been available since always. Pretty much, it's just the problem is that they're hard to find, because there are so many people trying to sell you bullshit that it's hard for you to find the actual like free information that is actually the one. It's like ironic that like the free stuff, this is actually the stuff that works the best for you. The stuff that is more expensive, like the crazy training programs that I see out there being sold, that are actually garbage. Like they're expensive. Well, the stuff that actually works is free, but you actually have to do what they tell you. And but even then, if you just take the basics principles of those training programs and just apply them, you can get results. But let's say if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of time to work out, like 20 minutes of training is much better than zero. Like for you to go to 0 minutes, like zero training, to 20 minutes makes a lot of difference. It actually makes more of a difference for you to go into like to 20 minutes of training to like over an hour, because like going from 0 to 20 there's a bigger difference between from going like to 20 to like 100, like going to like a training for like a hour and a half, because usually my training routines tend to go over an hour, but it's not like they're not like that necessary. Like I do it because sure I want to get the most gains possible, because sure I want to max my stats like a video game character, you have to max your stats. But if you're just someone that want to level up and just get to a good level so you can have fun, like it's already necessary. So like you can do like short workouts if you're doing like 20 minutes every day, like six times per week. You start Monday and you stop Saturday, and you're doing like 20-30 minutes per day. That makes a lot of difference, as long as you're focused on the basics. Like I think a lot of guys at the gym, they waste a lot of time trying to do like a lot of isolation work, or like trying to make exercises, too many exercises. The more that I work out now, like actually I do now less exercises than I used to do when I started going to the gym. I do more volume now per week, but like I'm actually doing less exercise. I just do more sets of the same exercises, and I do them more frequently through the week than I used to do back then. But actually over time your workouts actually become much more simple. So what I would do, if you're like someone that being like you only have like 20 to 30 minutes per day to work out, you just focus on exercises that is gonna work out a lot of muscle groups. Like I see some guys at the gym, they do like 2 exercises for the front delts, 2 exercises for the side delts, and then the rear delts. Like they go there and do a shoulder workout, and then they have to do more exercises for the biceps, another one for the chest, another one for the back. Well, instead of doing so many isolation workout exercises for each muscle group, they could just get compound movements and just do those and work out every single one of those muscle groups with just a few exercises. So what I would do, and I like pretty much like what I do, I just do like a bench press variation and like a pull up or chin up, and that's really all you need. Everything for your upper body, like you don't need much more than that. Sure, you can add like a second chest exercise or a second back exercises. But if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of free time, I would just recommend like go do like incline bench press and chin-ups. 2 exercises. You can do like 3 to 4 sets, high intensity. If you have a high intensity, you don't need that much like volume. Sure, volume can help you over time, but if your intensity is very high, like it's okay. And if you don't have much time, like if you don't have much time to work out for much longer, just focus more on the intensity. Just intensity just meaning that you're gonna do like a heavy set that is very close to failure. You're pretty much like reaching failure by the end of your set. It's you're doing in a weight which by the number of reps that you're trying to do, it's gonna get pretty much like close to failure. So you can just like do like an upper body workout in which you're just doing one bench press, like incline bench and chin-ups. That's it. The next day you're gonna do like a lower body workout, and you can just like do like squats and RDLs or stiff-legged deadlifts, whatever. That I think it's overall better than deadlifts. I think that deadlifts, they're not like that. I think they're a little bit overrated, and people make a lot of deal about how much you deadlift. And I mean, I think that if your focus is just more aesthetics and you just want to increase muscle mass, I just prefer RDLs or stiff-legged deadlifts, not the conventional deadlifts. But if you're not someone that wants like care much about like gaining strength in a specific lift, it is just doing more for the appearance, because I think that is the case for most people. Most people go to the gym because they want to look different. It's always more about aesthetics. At least that's how it is that's always the impression that I got from most people. So that's kind of like you just need like 2 basic exercises for your upper body, 2 basic exercises for your lower body. And if you do that like 3 times per week, that's really like a good amount of like weekly volume actually. Because you're only going to the gym to do like these heavy compound movements, and you're doing them 3 times per week, because you're gonna start like Monday, Tuesday, and then you repeat that 2 more times through the week. So you're gonna be doing like bench, chin-ups, squats, and RDLs, for example, like 3 times per week. That's like a very high frequency, so you're gonna be practicing those movements a lot, and I think that's really all you need. And if you, depending on the number of sets that you're gonna be doing, you can do those workouts in like 20 to 30 minutes. Sure, you have the time to warm up, you're gonna start like the bench with only the bar, then you're gonna increase more weight, whatever. But like the working sets, they're not gonna take that long. Sure, you have sometimes if your sets are very heavy, you're gonna have to rest between like 3 minutes at least sometimes, especially like on like squats. but like you can do those workouts in 20-30 minutes. Like just focus on the basics and you can grow. I can make more videos detailing about like showing more of my training routine, but it's very simple actually, especially like for let's say like quads. I pretty much like only do squats for my quads at the moment, like leg extensions, leg presses. I think they're very overrated. They're kind of like, if you're already doing a lot of squats, you don't really need anything else. I prefer to just do more sets on squats than just going to the leg press. And leg press just takes longer for you to load the weight, whatever. So like pretty much all I do for my quads right now is just squats. And I squat like 2-3 times per week, which is like a lot. I consider to be like above average. So when we are already doing like a good amount of like frequency on certain exercises, you don't need much more stuff, you know? And I like for my hamstrings, I do a little bit more exercises. I do RDLs or stiff leg deadlifts, and I do leg curls. But that is because my hamstrings are like falling behind my quads, so they do need a little bit more work. So it tends to be why I have more exercises, I have more volume for them. But like for the quads, it's just very simple. And really, you can still be a gamer, be a lot into playing video games and work out. Even if you don't like to work out, I would still recommend it for you to do. Because like, come on, it's just 20 minutes per day. Like, just go to the gym, 20 minutes, and just do the most basic exercise. Even if you hate going to the gym, I think it's worth it just for the health benefits, you know? And just do the most basic exercises. Go there, do a heavy set of incline bench. You can just do like 2 working sets to failure. That can already make a lot of difference. You just go in, do the heavy compound movements, do 2 heavy sets of incline bench, 2 heavy sets of chin-ups to failure. Chin-ups might be a problem for some of you if you guys cannot add weight over time, because over time, or if you cannot do chin-ups, I can recommend just doing a barbell row variation. Barbell rows are very good as well. Just usually like pretty much like the best exercises that you should go do at the gym is just like the ones that involve a barbell. Like I don't recommend much machines on most of the times. I mean, there are certain machines which can be superior to doing like some exercises which done in the machine can be better than in the barbell. But most of the time, I don't think it's gonna be necessary for you guys. Just focus on the basics. Just go to the gym. Just do heavy sets of like incline bench or either chin-ups or barbell rows, squats, RDLs, and sure. Oh, but how about my calves? Sure, you can do something for the abs or for the calves. But I'm talking about you guys that don't have much time to work out. Just do the compounds and these exercises which I mentioned. They're gonna be enough for your needs for you to be able to have good results. And I mean, when you do squats and RDLs, if you're doing without a belt, without a training belt, they do work your abs as well. Even pull-ups. Most people don't know that, but there are like scientific studies that show that doing pull-ups or chin-ups activates a little bit of your abs. So even though it doesn't look like it, that's what I like so much about compound movements, because they work out muscles that you don't even know that they're working, but they're actually being activated during the lift. So when you do a lot of pull-ups, they work out a little bit of your abs because for the stabilization while you're doing the movement, you know. So that's why it's so great. So sometimes it's not even necessary for you to do much like more accessory workout, more isolation movements when you're doing these lifts, which I mentioned. So there's not much of an excuse for gamers to not, you know, look in a certain way. Like, I think that if you guys want more videos of me talking about my training routine and this and that, how I got to be able to look the way I did, I can make more of that. But you guys can still be gamers and play a lot of video games and still look like in a certain way. It is not that complex. Like I said, like 20 to 30 minutes per day. That is usually like enough. Like that you can do, like there's many great training routines in which you can do during that time. Another thing that I would recommend for you guys is that don't waste much money on stuff. Like if you guys want to have like a change in your body, just do what I said. Like don't go on the internet and try to give people's money. Anyone that is trying to sell you like something magical, something like super fast, like something that promises great results, like it's probably just bullshit. So just don't buy it. Like especially like shit like supplements. Like there are so many supplements. I have taken like over 5 supplements ever since I started training. Like when creatine, I never felt much difference like while using any of them, to be honest. Never made like years ago when I was trying to. I just took like the most basic supplements, and in which they're like placebo effect, or I don't think like it's not even placebo. It's just bullshit. Just like a way to try to make money out of like people's desire to change their bodies, you know. I would just like be very careful what you see online, because like most of the time you're just gonna be looking at people that just want to take your money. They want you to buy their shit, buy their training programs, buy their shitty supplements and this and that. Well, a lot of those guys are just actually, they're not gonna be talking about it on their videos, or on their social media, but they just use drugs. Like the way that they look like is mainly because of their genetics and drugs. So like they, if you're not using that, like they cannot sell to you their genetics, or in they cannot. I mean, depending on the country, they cannot sell you the anabolic steroids that they are using. So they have to find another way in order to make money out of their like their followers or whatever. So they use like supplements. They can use merchandising. If it's merchandising, it's okay. If it's like clothes, whatever, it's not like something that they promise you. But when it's like supplements, training programs, dieting programs, in which are completely garbage, and then they're really not gonna help the person that is buying them, I think this is a very like shitty practice. But well, this is capitalism. Like it's not against the law for you to like deceive people. Technically, like if you deceive someone to take their money, if it's a scam, sure, it's scam, but like it's just like it's an interesting thing. Like if you scam someone, if you convince someone that like, oh, if you buy this supplement, you're gonna get more muscle mass, and they don't gain muscle mass because supplements actually they're not capable of really. They're not anabolic steroids. They're not gonna mess with your testosterone level, so it's not gonna happen. It's not considered a scam, even though it is, But it's just a weird thing, like how certain things in law, depending on the country. But I'm just getting off topic here now. Just interesting how certain things can be considered a scam, others are not. But I would just be careful out there. Like for most of you guys, even if you guys have a lot of free time, you want to dedicate yourselves to like bodybuilding, lifting, whatever, you guys don't really need to spend much to get to your like maximum genetic potential. Like I don't think there's like a lot of people talk about the natural limit. I think that you can always improve some things here and there, but sure, there's a time where your gains, the amount of muscle mass that you can gain over the years is gonna be decreased over time. You don't keep gaining the same amount of muscle mass every single year. Things are gonna be slowing down. But there is this point where you have reached a point where like you have gained already most of the muscle mass that you have gained. So your body is not going to increase much from what we are. And to get to that point, you don't need to be spending much money. You just need the basics, which is just like what I said. Focus on the most basic exercises, do have intensity, just increase the weight on the bar, eat more calories in order to gain weight. If you're trying to bulk up and gain muscle mass, if you want to lose body fat, you just drop the calories, and that's literally it. It's not something that requires you a lot of money, like you don't need to spend much money on that. It's just doing the basics. You don't need to give people money on the internet. That's something that I never gave much people money on it, but I think that I spend much time like watching videos on YouTubers that are just full of shit. I end up like buying some like a lot of, like when I was a teenager, I would buy I would buy, I don't know how it's called, I only know how it's called like in Portuguese, but there are like some like test boosters. Test boosters are crap. Like they might increase your libido. Like they can increase your sex drive. Sure, that can happen, but just because your sex drive is increased doesn't mean that your testosterone levels have increased. Even if they increase like a little bit, it doesn't make much of a difference in regards to making gains. Like you need to increase your testosterone levels like 2 times the normal amount, and that's not possible like supplements. You can take like ZMMA, which can help you like sure with sex drive or like sleeping better, they say, but it's like a little bit. It's not like an actual drug. Like if supplements made that much of a difference in regards to bodybuilding, they would be be selling into the pharma. They would be like considered to be drugs, not supplements. But I would just be careful, very careful in regards to like what you see online. If it sounds too good to be true, then well, it's not true. It's not true. Like usually like the stuff that is actually the truth, like is not the stuff that people like to hear. Because if I tell people like if you want to look like this way, you need to do this training, this dieting for like several years, most people don't want to do that. And it sounds so simple that most people don't believe it. They want some complex. They want to like, oh, let's do like a try set. I have like to do 3 exercises one after the other, and you have to do cardio between the exercises. And your diet, you can only eat like chicken and rice, because there's something magical about eating chicken and rice. So you cannot eat like, come on guys, I eat ice cream and cake every single day. I'm bulking, so I'm trying to gain weight now, but like eating junk food doesn't really get in the way of you making gains. Like if you are trying to cut down just dieting to get really ripped, sure, you might have to cut down calories and certain foods. At least the certain amounts of foods. You need to be in a caloric deficit. But if you're trying to gain weight, you can literally eat anything you want. If you're eating a good amount of protein, that's enough. Like, you don't, I just see so much nonsense in regards to food and trainings, so much stuff that people preach has like a dogma, you know, like oh, this is the ultimate truth. There are so many ways for you to get to the, you know, a certain appearance or just making gains at the gym. But well, I guess this is pretty much my opinion. There's like, so to summarize the whole thing, like, you can still be a gamer and still look in a certain, look the way that you want, you know. Sure, some of your genetics might have to limit you in some way or another, but I think that most people just don't have this notion that working out doesn't take as that long, you know, if you know what you're doing. So you can have time for several hours of gaming and still look in a certain way and still improve the way that you have your appearance. And at least in regards to the gym, in the bodybuilding and stuff. Sure, if you want to be like an endurance athlete, if you like to running, sure, you're gonna have to be running for several hours. But if you're focusing more, it's just aesthetics and not getting fat and this and that, those things can be just simply controlled by short amount of training and just like controlling the amount of food you eat, like whatever. I can, like I said, I can go more into detail about what I do in my routine, but it's usually simple stuff. So well, see you guys in the next video.